Hi, everybody. David Noor. I want to welcome you to another Avnir monthly webinar. We are live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and X. I'm delighted you're here. If you're joining us live, I would love for you to jump in and let me know where you're joining from, maybe what intrigued you about this topic. Today, we're going to talk about something that's been near and dear to my heart for a number of years, which is why most networking doesn't work. It is a topic that I've been passionate about for a long time. I've written about extensively, and I continue to coach frontline contributors all the way up to leaders, particularly highly relationship-centric businesses. If you think of consulting, if you think of commercial real estate, if you think of executive search, but in essence, in every business, we're fundamentally all in the relationship business. And there's still a lot of just prevailing mindset that, relationships are serendipitous. Are there some? Sure. Will they all gonna fall in your lap just out of nowhere? I don't think so. The most successful teams and organizations build relationships very intentionally. And I would submit to you that you see the tagline. It's not by accident. They're architected. They're driven in a meaningful way. So again, we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and X. I would encourage you to jump in. If you have questions, comments, I'll pause periodically and just make sure I address your questions. As I said, I found this on my laptop. This is a topic that I've been talking about for some time. If you look at the date, that's the date of we're going OG here. That's the original relationship economics book that came out in 2008. What is that? 14 years ago? So I've been more than that. I've been talking about this topic for some time. And it's because I did it myself. I made a lot of the mistakes that we're going to talk about. And I continue to see other people make them. And it's very prevalent. It's in your face when people are looking for a job, right? What do? They network like mad to try to find the next job. And when they find the next job, they forget everybody that helped them get there. Or they try to network into a new territory or new geography or into a new job. And a lot of it is just what we'll talk about today. It is busy work. It is the classic case of confusing vibration with forward motion. And people do this all the time. So it didn't just start in September of 2008. Most recently, in the third edition of this book, I mean, it's not only on the back cover of it, it's the entire first chapter where, because again, I see people doing these 10 things over and over again. And they, for some reason, expect very different results. By the way, Joanne, great to see you. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you. I love it. She has the original book. I've been a fan ever since. Joanne, I need more friends like you. For the rest of you, I send out $1 every time somebody says something nice about me. So Joanne, thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a fan of this work. So, I talk about a lot of these at an individual level because relationships are not between buildings and logos. They're always between individuals. So it always starts with an individual, but it absolutely has a cascading effect in terms of the organization. So at an individual level, just very quickly, you see the list in front of you. There's no purpose. You're networking, you're collecting business cards, you're getting out and meeting a lot of people. Tell me about the outcome. Because I learned years ago, right? You cannot possibly understand how things are going if you don't have a destination in mind. Tell me the purpose. That purpose is on my phone. I'm a big fan of Waze, the navigation app, right? And I've lived in Atlanta for a whole bunch of years, and our family's joke is don't doubt Waze. And sometimes Waze takes you in the wrong direction. But what it knows is that there's a tree down around a corner that's going to block traffic for 2 days. So what's your purpose for networking? Are you clear enough on the why in many ways to understand why I'm doing this, which then has a ripple effect on the rest of it? Fuzzy goals. if there's not definitive goals and milestones. What do they say? Any destination will get you there. No relationship development plan. We're going to talk about this. How do I nurture? How do I add value? How do I engage others in a meaningful way? There's haphazard or reactive effort, right? I'm going to do it on sunny Tuesdays, but not on rainy Thursdays. Okay, that inconsistency shows. What's in it for them? What do most people do when they network? You sit there, you be quiet. Let me tell you how smart I am. That gets really boring really fast, right? Engaging the wrong people. Now, don't misconstrue my comment. Everybody has value, but if they're not your ideal relationship profile, you're throwing darts blindfolded, or you're gonna kiss a lot of frogs to try to find that one prince, because you're networking with the wrong people, with the wrong profile, with the wrong attributes, if you will. Failure to arm others with the right ammunition, I call that relationship enablement, right? People want to help you, they don't know how to help you. So are you arming them with the right ammunition to intelligently talk about and introduce you in a meaningful way? Less than ideal relationship profiles, right? Don't settle. This is, well, that's just, that person is good enough, or that's as far as I can get. Says who? So there's a lot of self-fulfilling prophecy in many ways of, or self-limiting beliefs in many ways, because you lower your standards or you lower the bar. Lack of relationship insight validation. I talked a lot about this idea of triangulation. How do you know that's the right person? Because of what, their title? The title doesn't equate to influence. The title doesn't equate to access. The title doesn't equate to any kind of clout or the ability to shape how others think in the organization about the problems you solve or the potential solution you bring. Last but not least, this idea of givers, takers, and investors. I've been talking about this for a long time. Relationship givers altruistically give. They get something very euphoric from giving. They love to give. That's awesome. Most of us can't be pure givers because we got, I don't know about you, I got something called a mortgage, right? Relationship takers, all they do is take. They constantly ask and they want things from you, and with no mindset or thinking about, am I investing in this relationship enough? The really astute relationship investors realize that it's a lot easier for me to ask for something once I start giving, once I start adding value, right? So if these are, and we'll come back to these, but if these are the 10, again, the entire chapter, first chapter of this book goes into those 10 points pretty significantly. But I want to talk about this now extended to a team or a firm. So if networking worked, top of the page, most professionals would be growing their business faster, more predictably, with a whole lot less effort. What do? Instead, we see high activity, low conversion. We see lots of conversations, little continuity. We see broad networks, very shallow relationships. Joanne is going to love this comment. Of all of your LinkedIn connections, how many of them do you really know? I'm embarrassed that I'm connected with some people. I have no idea how I know them or where do I know them from, right? And this happens all the time. Somebody reaches out, hey, I see on LinkedIn that you're connected so-and-so. Can you introduce us? No, I don't know you. I'm not sure I like you. And I certainly don't know that person well enough. And I need you to hear this. Every referral is a recommendation. Every introduction is a recommendation. You're using borrowed trust. So there's a whole lot of shallow relationships because they're sheer contacts. So I would submit to you at the bottom of the page, networking is not broken. Your approach to networking could be outdated. It could be what you tried even 2-3 years ago and it worked then, but the relationships are incredibly dynamic. By the way, how many spam emails do you get a day? And if I don't know you and you call me, I'm probably not going to pick it up. And I think most people are that way. So if it's getting more difficult to reach people, if it's getting more difficult to do cold outbound, right? The really astute professionals are back to hand relational combat. And you're competing for mind share first and foremost before you compete for wallet share. So the reality a lot of team leaders or organizational leaders are not talking about or don't want to say out loud is you attend a lot of events, you meet a lot of people, you might even follow up. But guess what? No real opportunities comes from all that activity. You belong to all these associations and organizations, and they have events all the time you go to, and the local and the regional and the national thing you go to, and no meaningful progression happens. No really sustained relationship momentum. So the underlying truth is your efforts without structure tends to contribute to noise, produce more noise, amplify more noise, add to more noise than it does real growth. And again, it's not your lack of activity. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that in a second. It's how do I translate that activity to, and I want you to start thinking about systems thinking. How do I think of relationships as a system, as an ecosystem, highly connected ecosystem that should produce the results that I'm after? I'm not the only one talking about this. EPSTA does a ton of global research. Their 2025 B2B sales benchmark of interviewing 48 billion in revenue, and look at that, 655,000 opportunities, 240,000 sales discovery calls, 2,000 CROs. The state of B2B sales this past year wasn't good. Our win rates are down, sales cycles down, deal value might be up, but there are few deals. Look at this. 78% of reps missed their quota. The velocity is increased, the deals that are slipping has increased. And so again, this is the way you've always done it. This is you networking, trying to brute force contacts into relationships. And the wrong conclusion, is what a lot of people do top of the page. Let's do more activity. We need more. We got to have more events. We got to do more outreach. Oh, no. It's not enough to send out 1,000, LinkedIn messages a week. We should send 5,000 LinkedIn messages a week. Please, for the love of sweet baby Jesus, you're just, you're fire hosing people. More follow-ups and more pipeline pressure, and that's not it. Volume doesn't fix structural issues. You need curated connections. You need a strategic relationship map. You need focused quality, and you need solid structure that's built based on trust. So none of the bottom of the page is more activity. It's more busyness. It's are you fixing structural issues? So here's the real problem. It's not effort, it's architecture. You remember I told you that relationships are architected? It's your architecture. So it's not the random outcomes of interactions. It's designing with intent. It's building through consistency. It's strengthening through relevance. Without that architecture, without really thinking of relationships as an ecosystem, every interaction resets momentum. Start, go. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, Every event starts from zero again. Every relationship remains incredibly fragile because you're doing the drive-by greetings. In the words of one of my favorite mentors, stop it. It's not helping you, That drive, that cast. There's it goes without naming names, but there's a lovely woman here in Atlanta, and she works for a very reputable firm, and they sponsor a bunch of different events I've gone to, and she has coffee probably 75 times a day, and she's meeting a lot of people, and it's fabulous. And you ask 3 people about her, and the consistent feedback is, oh, sure, she knows a lot of people, but they're very shallow. There's no depth. Because she's so busy networking, she doesn't really get to know anyone. And we're going to talk about this, she's highly transactional. And she's collecting business cards and LinkedIn connections like there's some sort of badge of honor. I don't know how well her business is doing, but it certainly is not helping her reputation that do you know her? Oh, yeah, she's lovely. Do you know her? Oh, yeah, I just had coffee with her. Do you know her? But nobody says, have you gotten any value, or are you better off because of her? Do you hear the difference? So transactional networking, like this woman is doing, is the default mode for most organizations, right? Meetings and exchange cards, and let's be episodic, and let's send a generic follow-up email. And guess what I got from her? A cut and paste email. David, it was good to see you this morning for breakfast. And it sounded like every other email. And at the surface level, she's touching a lot of people. And then she moves on to next interaction. And it's incredibly short-term focused. Transactional networking optimizes for activity, not outcome. Maybe that's how she's paid. Maybe she's paid by the coffee meetings and how many people she's adding to LinkedIn on a weekly basis. That's not the milestone I certainly care about, or most astute business professionals care about. Are you creating any kind of an outcome? Not just quantifiable into your terms of revenue and growth, but also, is that intelligent, profitable growth? Is it, right? Is it profitable? I was president of a company during the dot-bomb era. And the painful lesson we learned is you cannot buy something for $2, sell it for $1, and make it up on volume. So the transactional networking that she's doing, not just she, but most people do, you're buying, there's a cost to it. You're buying something for $2 and then you try to sell it for $1, and your perception or misperception is you're going to make it up on volume. That's transactional networking. And there's a cottage industry online that's trying to teach you how to do more of this crap. No, thank you. If you email me with any of these, I'm going to block you immediately because it's moronic. So why does it fail? It fails because it lacks context. You don't know me. It lacks any kind of continuity. Those of you who have got this significant other, did you really propose to your spouse on the first date? No. You nurtured the relationship. You got to know each other. It was over a period of time. Maybe you went through some ups and downs to see how you would fare. Maybe my mother always said, travel with the person. Go through a stressful situation with the person. You'll learn a lot about them. You know what that creates? Continuity. In the business context, you also need the last bucket on the left, intentional value exchange. It's not about you. It's about, are they better off because of you? As a result of the left-hand side of your screen, what happens on the right is you're forgettable. You are forgettable. I can't even remember this woman's name till somebody else brings it up. You're interchangeable. You know, the business she's in, I know 50 people in that business. I could call any one of them and engage any one of them. And you're not differentiated. What does differentiated really mean? You're memorable. You're what did Seth Godin call it? Be noteworthy, be worthy of remark, right? So if you're easily forgotten and you're interchangeable and you're not differentiated, what you're not doing is you're not building trust. And trust doesn't compound without that intentionality. Trust doesn't compound there's a reason we've built your top 100 relationships in our Avenir platform, because ton of data shows an average individual can proactively manage about 100 to 150 relationships. That's it. So the 50,000 contacts you have on LinkedIn, I'm saying this respectfully, have little to no value. Because if you want to be intentional about the relationships that are critical to your success, top 10, 20, 30, 50. You want a gold star? 100. That's all you have the bandwidth to invest in. And if you believe the supposition, if you believe the hypothesis that relationships are an investment, you cannot do that with drive-by greetings. You have to be very intentional about these relationships. Again, as a friendly reminder, we're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X. As you can see, I'm passionate about this topic. If you have questions, if you have comments, I would encourage you to jump in with those. Just type them in. I'll see them in here, and I'll pause and maybe share that with the broader audience, and also respond to your questions or comments you may have. So, what's the cost of busy networking? Have you noticed, by the way, you talk to networkers and they're always busy. They're busy going to a bunch of events. They're busy, right, meeting people. They're busy all the time. What it actually costs the firm is a missed opportunity because of the shallow engagements. You read in the trade publication that one of your prospects has chosen another firm, that something you could have done. You're like, wait, I know them. No, you only have their contact information. You don't really know them. And they certainly don't know you. So missed opportunities from those shallow engagements is one of the biggest costs. Beyond time and hidden costs, wasted, if you go to any kind of conference or event investment, you're investing time and money, registration fee, and right? And you go to these and you show up late and you leave early because you've got another networking commitment, and you wasted that effort. Partner fatigue, right? You have people that are, this is partners within a firm, that are, right, going to a lot of these events and they have nothing to show for it. And I would submit to you brand dilution. Because believe it or not, you are a brand ambassador of the logo that's on your business card. You're a brand ambassador of the logo that's on your LinkedIn profile. And if you're inconsistent with your follow-up, people begin to associate that inconsistency with that brand, with that organization. So if you network without that conversion, it's not neutral. It's actually, there's a diminishing return. It's actually expensive to do this. And again, a lot of people are very busy networking without really understanding the inconsistency problem. So those of you who have done this for a while know that business development is not typically institutionalized. Again, I'm very specifically referring to professional service firms, but this is relevant to a very broad audience as well, because every partner within the firm operates very differently, right? Different follow-up styles, different priorities, different levels of discipline. I spoke to one a couple of days ago. He said, look, I've got a two-pronged approach. I've got to both, bring in revenue from existing customers and net new, but also I have to deliver. I have to deliver the work. We eat what we kill, and we got to deliver the work. So that creates ebb and flow, because when the projects are there, your business development kind of decreases. And then you finish those projects, you come up for air, and now you don't have anything else in your pipeline. So the lack of that follow-up becomes really, really challenging. A lot of times there's no shared system, right? I've got people on my phone, and I've got them in spreadsheets, and I've got them in my LinkedIn, and we connected on and I might have them in the company CRM, but it's not shared in any meaningful way. There's no cadence. There's no consistency. There's no milestones. There's no shared visibility. So what happens is firms scale, right? They struggle in scaling relationship-driven growth. That's what really suffers, is that relationship-centric growth. So a relationship planning framework that might be really helpful for you to kind of consider. Every strategic relationship in particular should answer these 4 questions. Why does this relationship matter? Right? And again, we in the platform, we've built something we call ideal relationship profile. This is someone that is greatly aligned with what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to do it. Why does this relationship matter? What value can we create for them? What value can they create for us? And then what's our next intentional move? Be intentional. Relationships, if they're architected, should be consistent. It should be intentional. Because if you don't have a plan, if you don't have progression, you should have no expectations of a set of desired outcomes. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a reason of what we're doing, why we're doing it, again, in our platform, here's the top 100. Here's your daily dashboard of those relationship insights. Here's how I move them along a continuum. Here's a relationship score. These are all the attributes that force you to be intentional, to be strategic, to be quantifiable. In essence, why I wrote Relationship Economics all those years ago. The other critical part that's really important in this process is strategically prioritizing of everybody you could meet. Where's the best investment of your time and effort? I would submit to you that focus is the multiplier. Not all relationships deserve equal attention, equal time. I fly with one of our local favorite airlines. I fly them enough that I have status. There's a direct line I can call and hopefully speak to someone when everybody else is waiting in line. Why? I spend a whole lot of money with them every year as a certain level of a customer. So segmenting, and you could use very simple silver, right? Gold, platinum, diamond if you want. But segmenting your customer base allows you to really focus on who are the most strategic, who are the most relevant, who are the most valuable, who are the most impactful in your business. Again, an old mentor of mine drove into me every year, fire the bottom 10% of your customer base. I'm sorry, I no longer do that kind of work. I'm sorry, that is no longer a viable fit for me. So this is a really good opportunity to focus on the segment. Where are the high potential emerging relationships? That's your next up. That's the next group that I want to invest in. You guys are going to chuckle. When our kids, my daughter's now 24, my son is 22. When they were little, we would go to Home Depot for Saturday morning, kind of a kids workshop sessions. Brilliant move on their part, because not only we build bird houses and wooden toolboxes, and they got these little cute aprons, and for each workshop they came to, they got a pin, and it became a family thing that we did almost every weekend. And I don't think I ever left Home Depot without spending 20, 50, $100 on something else that while we're here, let's go pick up. Take a wild guess of where my grown adult kids shop now. Yeah, because then they have a connection, they have an emotional connection, they have that memory back to those experiences. So investing in your high potential emerging relationships, and then the peripheral contacts, that's the next tier. You have to meet the contacts to realize whether they're a right relationship or not, but I'm going to focus top down. So depth in fewer relationships outperform breadth in many. Let me say that again. Depth in fewer. So instead of everybody's saying, I jokingly call it new logoitis. Everybody wants to go after net new. That's great. You're casting a massive net. That's fantastic. What if we focused on fewer? What if we build deeper? What if we build more meaningful relationships? Would that get us further along in our journey? That is fundamentally the hypothesis of our platform. That is fundamentally what we're trying to do in the platform we're building. And the big driver of that is really changing your mindset from contacts to context. And context is all about relevance. So if you look at the left-hand side of the screen, contacts are static. Individual contacts I have on my phone, all my LinkedIn contacts are static, right? There's a name, there's a phone number, maybe there's an email, there's a LinkedIn connection, maybe there's a reminder that I should send them something. They're static. They might as well be white pages. For our younger audience, white pages were these things the phone company would publish and had everybody. It was the paper version of Zoom Info or Clay or Apollo or any of these things now, right? To the right-hand side of your screen, the context is dynamic and includes their priorities. That's why we capture in our platform their goals, their pressures, their timing, their strategic initiatives. What are the things they care about most? What are the things they're passionate about? What are the things that they value greatly? People respond to relevance, not reminders. So if you have contacts and it's prompting you to send this or, hey, it makes me cringe when people talk about sequences. We should send an email. Then 2 days later, we should send a phone call. Then 2 days later, we should connect with them on LinkedIn. Then 2 days later, we should pester them with another email. Hey, by the way, did you see my first email? No, wait, 2 more days, I should send you another email and pester the crap out of you with that one, just in case you haven't seen the first 3 emails. No, thank you. I'd rather have a conversation. I'd rather you take a stab at what you think you know or what I might be struggling with, or you inviting me to learn something that's highly relevant to the things on the right. That's what I care about. That's the tough love you need to hear, is those contacts aren't nearly as valuable as context that makes people want to engage. And if you think about it, for a long time, I played soccer. Both my kids played soccer. I coached soccer. I've reffed soccer. Soccer has been a big part of my life for a long time. I think if you've ever played these dynamic games like soccer, hockey, lacrosse, rugby, any of these games, I think you would agree 90% of the game is played when you don't have the ball. And the best players on the best teams are always asking, where should I be? What should I be doing? How do I put myself in the best possible position so when we do get the ball or we get the puck, we can do something with it? I need you to see that pitch as your marketplace. I need you to see that field, that hockey ice as your marketplace, dynamic, always moving. So the 3 questions that you and your team should be ideally asking is, where should we be? What should we be doing? How do we put ourselves and our team in the best possible position so when we do get the ball or the puck, we can do something with it? And what many people don't realize is that your firm, and your firm already have unbelievable relationships that are hidden. Former clients, dormant contacts, senior executive or board connections, partner network, alumni relationships, people you used to work with in your previous life or theirs. The problem isn't scarcity, it's visibility. It's not, right? You have contact information for these people. Are you relevant to them? And when it comes to an organization, a lot of people unfortunately think of the org chart on the right versus the influence network on the left. And what I keep reiterating is the one on the right is based on titles, and it's based on reporting lines. And all of us on this call know that's not how things get done. It's the one on the left. Who are the connectors? Who are the experts? Who are the trusted advisors? Who are the thought leaders? Who are the decision or thinking shapers? And for a long time, I've been advocating that there's 6 unique phases of you building and nurturing great relationships. You have to prepare, you have to plan, you have to execute, That's where you get results from. So that's why we're building an intelligent relationship management platform where it takes data from multiple sources and it basically does AI agentic orchestration of how do I nurture the relationships towards my desired outcome in a simple, clean, really elegant way. And as you've heard me talk about before, we're currently in beta and we have an early access partner program. So I would encourage you, right? We'll send you a follow-up email with a link to our relationship assessment. It looks something like this. And I would encourage you, visit avnirinsights.com to see what we're building. And if any of what I've shared today, it's useful to you, if it's helpful to you, I would encourage you request early access because this is how you'll be able to leverage this agentic kind of workflow that we've built that we believe will help you accelerate nurturing those relationships. And again, these webinars, I know this content. I hope it's useful to you. I hope it's relevant to you. The next one, I hope you'll save the date. May, hard to believe it's May already. I know that's how a calendar works, but May 5th, they're all at 1 o'clock Eastern. I'm going to talk about the value that you're not seeing, the value that you're not seeing. So as promised earlier, I mentioned that this list of the top 10 reasons why most networking doesn't work. Let me give you, for those of you that are still engaged, actively watching, let me give you a few tips, a few best practices, things that I've done that has worked well, things that I've coached other people and they've done it, things that I've observed people do that works really well. And it lines up really nicely with these 10. But number one, be crystal clear on your why. And it's not just, I'm trying to grow my business. Well, that business is a means to an end. What problems do you solve? What problems do you want to solve? How's your solution in a meaningful way, different, unique, interesting than others that you might be competing with? Again, you're competing for mind share. And if you ever tried pushing a rope, you know that it doesn't work. So how can you create gravity or pull? So be crystal clear on the real outcomes that you create. Be very specific with milestones and metrics. I've always believed if you do the right things, the end result will come. So it can be just sheer transactional context that I meet certain number of people. It should ideally be, here's my ideal relationship profile. How many people did I meet, almost like the Target logo, that were dead center bullseye on this profile? I had a fantastic conversation yesterday with a retained search firm. And search, if you think about it a second, they have customers or companies that pay them, but their supply, that's the demand. The supply is the market is talent. So they have to keep both sides, right, fairly engaged. So this well-respected retained search firm they're currently using a competing product. So of course I asked them why they're interested in us, because the competing product doesn't do what they needed to do. And they have one of the big CRMs, and they have a number of professionals that are very relationship centric. They've been very successful, and I've always believed your best customers have Frankensteined a potential solution, and it's exactly what they've done. So when they see our elegant way of how we're solving that, they're really interested. That's an example of, I know who I'm trying to date, and are the people I'm talking to, people engaging, are they close to, are they similar, are they lookalikes to my ideal relationship profiles? If not, why are you wasting cycles chasing someone that's just not a viable fit for you? Having a development plan, being consistent about how you do that, making sure you're intentional. So I'm very intentional about the events. I like my wife. I like my bed. I like my kids. So if I go to an event, I want to make sure that it's worthwhile. And I've done my due diligence and my homework on whether this is viable or not. What's in it for them? It's in your language. It's in your positioning. And I want you to think of yourself as a Sherpa or a guide. So a really good way to think about it is the person you're meeting wants to get to top of the Everest. You've been there. You know where base camp is. You know where to store the oxygen. You know when to ascend, when not to. Be that Sherpa. If you come to an event, if you come to a networking function, if you come to meet people with a heart of service, if you come to give and add value to them, and they feel that they're better off because of you, I promise you, I guarantee you, they will seek you out. I don't know about you. I'm just not that excited about cold calling. I don't want to cold call anybody. Hey, let me interrupt your day and what you're doing and things that are important to you to tell you all about me. No, thank you. I'd rather, right, people reach out through LinkedIn or an email. Hey, great meeting you at this event. Really enjoyed the insights you shared. Would love to get together for a cup of coffee. Which one would you rather deal with? So again, these are just some of the teasers. I would highly encourage you, if you are so inclined, buy the book, read the book. The entire first chapter are on these topics. Again, the next webinar, May 5th, on the value you're not seeing. But I hope this has been useful to you. I hope this has been of interest and value to you. I'm doing these webinars one a month. I hope, if it's a value, come join our early access partner program. AvneerInsights.com is a really good place to learn more about that. And I always welcome your ideas and questions and perspectives. And you can follow me on LinkedIn. You can message me there, and I'm happy to respond. I also post on LinkedIn typically every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Even if I'm on the West Coast and I'm spending a lot of time out there, I make sure that 8 a.m. Eastern is when I post daily relationship insights, innovation insights, nuggets. I like using pictures and kind of adding some hopefully actionable nuggets to those. So you can follow me on LinkedIn and get some value from there as well. On behalf of our entire Avneer team, thank you for being here. I hope this was of useful value to you, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, everybody. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.